Glad to be here, guys. Here to talk about Global Santa Fe and why we're here today. To fulfill a mission that we've been on for quite some time. One that we made tremendous progress towards, but one that we have not achieved yet today. And you guys are in here because you're a key ingredient of fulfilling that goal. And that goal is right here. To bring meaning to that statement, that Global Santa Fe will be an injury-free workplace. Not just a gold plaque that we hang on the wall in our office or on our rigs. That means injury-free. LTIs, recordables, first aids, and the environment. No harm to the environment. And all of you guys sitting around here today have been with the company long enough and in the industry long enough to have seen the tremendous progress we have made. We started out with safety records that were just totally ridiculous in today's environment to where we are today. We're at points where people, many of you in this room, I got to admit, maybe me included, didn't believe we could get when we were so far off that you could actually run a rig without having an injury. And we've got statistic after statistics that prove you can. But we're still hurting people. I think one of the main reasons we're still hurting people is the way we go about our business is tolerance. And I have myself to take a look, like we do in Focus 3 training, a look in the mirror at what we tolerate and what the outcomes are. And do we really need to recommit, if you will, refocus and recommit on what our level of acceptance is. ASA, which you're here for, is not an optional program. When you walk through the door today, the bar has been raised on you. There's an expectation that you're going to leave here today and you're going to perform at a higher level than when you walked in here today. What standard do we use? You've seen it on the rig, tool pusher. If you set the bar here, where do your people go? Right there. You set the bar up here, where they go? Right up there. You let that bar go down here, where are they going to go? They're going to end up doing that too. Same in your crew? Same on your rig. You're the guy they look to. Not me. A lot of them don't even know who Marion Will is, and they could care less. But they know you're the man. You walk out there on that deck, and they say, where does Duncan have the bar today? So where are you going to set the bar? Where are you going to set the hurdle? How good is good enough? Let me challenge you with this. Here's where you set the bar. You set the bar where everything you do, every conversation you have, every action you take, you do it with one thing in mind. People's lives depend upon it. How do I do this? Why am I doing this? Because people's lives depend upon it. Your actions are going to decide whether people live or die. We just went through what I refer to as the Mark Shaw family tragedy, because it just wasn't Mark Shaw dying. There was a widow and 3 kids in that photograph. That incident was 100% preventable. And all it would have taken was one committed person to do one quality ASA, and the whole job would have been stopped. And Mark probably would still be having a very fruitful career. Many supervisors were involved with that failure. That was not the failure of a green hat. That was not the failure of a young guy being trained up or anything. Matter of fact, the one guy that tried to call timeout twice and stop the job was the lowest ranking guy there. The people that were extremely contributory to it was the supervisors, because they chose to set the bar here. And they chose to run that rig that day like people's lives didn't depend upon it. There were 3 different guys that were involved in that could have done an ASA. And I'm not singling that particular one out because I've looked at other incidents and fatalities we've had in the fleet, and there is a common denominator. Usually there are other people around when it happens. All of them see it, know what's going on, and they choose not to step in. Even though we have focus training, even though we have ASA, and even though we've empowered everybody to call timeout. It's a tolerance. It's a tolerance of risk. It's a tolerance of that's the way we do it. It's a tolerance of the system. It's a tolerance of you and you and you and me have bending the rules for 10 years and seeing it go on, and we're just going to tolerate it one more time. If we're going to be injury-free, we have got to stop that today. We've got to end it. Our people will continue to die at this company. And where we are today, my hat's off to everyone in this organization. We have come a long, long way, but we have not there. And to get from 0.7 to 0.3, down from 0.3 to 0.2, where we are today, was a far easier run than it's going to be to get from 0.2 to 0. It's that last flattening out of that curve. That's the part that is eating our lunch. And so just think about your last rig operations, last tour on the rig. Was there things you could have done different? Did you walk past anything? Did you run every operations like people's lives depend upon it? And it's hard. What I'm sitting here challenging you guys with is extremely hard to do. It sounds so easy sitting here in the classroom. And then you get back out there, and then all of a sudden things start straying off. You've got well problems. You've got you're not making enough hole. You're got some equipment issues, mechanical failures. Maybe you got a company man ragging you about some issue. You got some guy calling from the beach about his budget. You know, some rig manager calling you up and reaming you out about my budget this, my budget that, what the hell's going on. Maybe something's going on at the house. And it's hard to be a leader every day, even on the days that you don't feel like it. But when you walk out of that office and go out there on that deck, you're the man. You're the one that all the eyes are looking at. And they know exactly where your standard is that day. And that's exactly where they're going to go. And so if you don't run it that way, or when you go visit your rig, what message do you send? Do you send the message that I'm out here to do my routine audit? I'm out here for a routine rig visit? Or I'm out here to check on things to see where the standard is because people's lives depend upon it? Would it change the emphasis of your visit if you told them, I'm out here because all you guys' lives depend upon it? Simple little choice of words will have a major impact on raising the bar. I'll give it to you that sometimes we have people injured or incidents happen that it's not a lack of commitment, that it's people wanting to do the right thing, but it's a failure to analyze the risk properly or in enough depth or detail. And the reason they're not getting to the bottom of it is the way they go about doing it. You ever done a JRA? How do you know you have all the risk identified? How do you know they understand what they're doing? I tell you the perfect way. Before you go do the job, do an ASA on them over the JRA before the job even starts. Do you understand this? Yeah. Okay. Where are you going to stand? Why are you going to stand there? What would happen to you if you stood here? What tools do you need for that job? What if you use this tool instead of that tool? What if he's over here doing this while you're doing that? What would happen? And if he can't rattle those answers off like that, he's just told you, even though he said he understands, he doesn't have a clue what's going on with that job. But what do? We ask a man, do you understand? Yeah, I got it. Go get it. Did we do that JRA like someone's life is dependent upon it? Or did we just do a JRA because it's routine and because our 2.4 manual says we have to have one and I need a piece of paper to cover my butt in case something goes wrong? I suspect that all of us have been involved with both. That'll never get us to injury-free workplace. Simply won't happen. But if we just modified our behavior a little bit by changing what you do and how you conduct a JRA, okay, we did it. Do you understand? Do the ASA. And then one last thing, guys, before your crew breaks up and goes do it. Let me ask all of you a question. Did we do this JRA like our life depends upon it? And see if the little funny feeling doesn't go down the back of your neck when you start thinking of it in that context. Ask them. Do you understand this well enough that your life depends upon it? Because in reality, it really does. And you're the boss, you're in charge. And I'm sorry, if you send them off to do the job and they get hurt or something goes wrong, you're accountable. It goes with the territory. You're the boss. You're responsible. You can delegate the responsibility of the task, but you can't delegate out your accountability to make sure it goes well. That's just facts of life if you're going to be on the management team. I'm responsible that Mark Shaw died. There's a ton of people along there too that got some accountability, but I'm accountable for that. And so are you with your guys. And so you have to run your business that way. And we're not really looking for a big change. We're just looking at the perception and the degree of things, the way we look at the world. I know you know how to do a JRA. And I know your skill set's enough that you're going to identify the risk. But are you going to get it into the people that are at the sharp end of the stick, at the level and the degree of intensity that they need it? How long does it take to do a JRA? A JRA takes however long it takes. No time limit. Zero time limit. However long it takes to get the job analyzed, the risk assessed, and mitigated before you start the job. That's not how we do it, though, is it? All the time. We tried to, but time does get into a factor. Time, I went through it. We mentioned it at the pre-tire meeting. We had a toolbox meeting, went through the JRA. I mean, what more can you ask of me? Something went wrong. I mean, I did a JRA. Sorry, you're accountable. You take as much time as you need. And don't start your task. If you're the driller, you tell your tool pusher, I'm sorry, I'm not ready. If you're the tool pusher, you can tell the company man, I'm sorry, I'm not ready. You can tell the rig manager that, we're not ready. There's no repercussions. World oil is not going to stop flowing. OPEC will not be brought to its knees. The lights will stay on in Houston, Texas. We got plenty of time to go find that energy source. But we don't do that. We all have built-in clocks. We're all performance-oriented. That's what's attracted every one of you to this industry. The tougher it gets, the more I like it. You see, you've gritting your teeth. I don't have this tool. Okay, that's even better. I can do. I'll make it happen. I mean, that's how we got this industry going, and we're full of it. And we're the guys now running it, and we're the ones that we're asking people to change. Hell, we're the ones that got to change ourselves. You're sitting in this room today because sometime in your career, you risk your life or the life of one of your workmates to make something happen. True or false? Performance.
Many times.
I'm your man. I'm a hand. You'd do anything to be called a hand. I'm the go-to man. And that's why you're here. You got promoted. And if you weren't above average performers, you wouldn't be here. But you got here because you make things happen. And that's good. But you also got to be aware of it, that the speed that you can make things happen might not be the same speed that your crew can make things happen. And you can only go as fast as the slowest guy. So it's not about speed. It's about planning, execution, a standard that is way high, a standard that says people's lives depend upon it. How good do we do pre-tower meetings on your rig? Do you cover all the hazards? Do you have the highest standards? Or is it a group of supervisors standing up there, generally the company man, the OIM or tool pusher and the driller, and saying we're going to do this, this, and this, and they know exactly what those mean. You know, we're going to get the crew involved, and a supervisor or the driller or tool pusher will say, okay, what are the hazards involved with that? Y'all heard that? And what's the standard answer you get?
Pinch fingers.
Slips, trips, falls, pinch points. Okay, good. Watch out for those pinch points. Let's move on. Y'all ever seen that at a pre-tower meeting? You ever been party of it? Next time you're at a pre-tower meeting, you running one, or whether you go out and visit your rig, usually they end with, anybody got any questions? No? Okay. Wait a minute. I got one. Did we run this pre-tower meeting like everyone's life in here depends upon it? Because it does. And if everybody in there can't say yes, then you got some more time you need to spend at your pre-tower meeting. Because you're about to send a man out the door that you are accountable for, and he ain't got it. That's the time to plan. I've heard the focus card referred to as your chopper ticket home. Have you? I mean, that's what they coined it. That's your chopper ticket home. You don't have enough cards. You don't have a chopper ticket home, or you may have a permanent one-way trip. Somewhere along the path, with me included, we got off track, way off track. And we, as the management, need to correct this. How many ASAs or focus cards does it take to run a rig injury-free? As many as it takes. It's not 15, it's not 20. It's not a number. And you'll never get a number out of me. I've been asked that question a bunch. What is the right number? It's as many as it takes to make it injury-free. And yet we go out there and we put these quotas on. And we do that because we want people to participate. And that's a way of measuring the participation. It's not a numbers game. And we got to go back and recorrect that. Matter of fact, I suggest to you, never refer to a focus card again. Ever. It's a focus conversation or a focus observation. And if you notice participation going down, you might want to try something like this instead of, I need more cards. I noticed last week that we're not having enough conversations and observations about the safety culture on this rig. So what I would like for everyone to focus on is having more conversations with each other and be a little more alert, more observations about at-risk spots, about what's going on, because we got to run this rig like our lives depend upon it. And I'm not giving you a number because it isn't a numbers game. I want you to do all that you can. And different people are at different levels. What you're wanting is quality. But what I want you to do is go out there and have a conversation with people like their lives depend upon it. And we do that, we'll be an injury-free workplace. So if you got it as a numbers game on your rig, go back and correct it. Explain to them why they got to participate, but what you're trying to accomplish with that participation. We do not run, on average, 59 pre-tire meetings a day on our rigs like people's lives depend upon it. And I'm appealing to you guys to go out there and change it. I am thoroughly convinced the solution to making this company injury-free workplace is sitting right here in this room looking at me. It ain't me. It's you. We all got to roll. And the same guys that come in here for the next class and the class after that. That's where it's going to make a change. It's going to be the guy that they see out there leading the charge, holding that bar where everybody can see it and giving them the target to go to. Run your business like that, and I guarantee you, you'll always make the right decision.